When it comes to going for a ride, there are a few essentials that I and my fellow presenters will never leave home without. But what are they? And are they what you'd expect? Yeah, so when it comes to going for a spin, whether it's smashing local laps or going out on a massive epic, I will always carry a few certain things with me. And I've got a few different schools of thought on this. I've got a minimalist and a maximalist. Let's have a look at the minimalist first. First up, we're going minimalist. And I'm going to fly through this. If I'm doing local laps or not too far from home, I'm not taking much. I've got my computer with a heart rate strap to keep an eye on my stats, how far I've gone and what effort. A snack just in case, but I generally pull on by the cake shop. My phone in case I get into trouble. Helmet always, obviously, but with glasses as well. And a multi-tool, because you can fix pretty much anything with a multi-tool as long as it's got a chain breaker in there as well. But what if I'm going for miles? Now, when it does come to munching the massive miles, I will sometimes opt for a backpack. And I don't want a big backpack either. Sometimes I do take them if it's a humongous ride or really remote. But generally I use this, the little Chase 8. It's kind of like a vest that Camelback make with like a backpack. So it takes 1.5 litre bottle of water in it. And inside that, I will have a woolly hat for when I stop and I want to keep warm, and I can keep my noggin, you know, it's not the most insulated anymore, so that's got to be kept warm. And I'll keep a dry piece of clothes. In this case, I've got a gilet in there, or sometimes a spare base layer. If it's a really horrible day, I'll chuck that in. When it comes to tools though, I'll have all the tools I spoke about before, my mini ride and the little snack and stuff, but I'll go a bit further. So we've got tyre levers, duct tape, because you can literally fix almost anything with duct tape. Air canister with, of course, adapter on it. Forget that, that's pointless as well. I don't want to take too many air canisters, so I've also got a pump. And, of course, we have a few extra little essentials. Now, these little kind of bonus multi-tools aren't bike specific, but they are really useful and they take up virtually no space at all as well. So I'll chuck those in there as well. And I guess I went for a ride with the missus last because a hair clip. I clearly don't need that. That's me done, however. What do the others take?
Right, things I never leave home without. First one, it's a shameless plug, but my Garmin Phoenix watch. Obviously it's a watch, so I use it every day for time reading functions, but it's crazy how many things these watches do nowadays. So I use it for tracking my rides. It'll pair to my heart rate, power meters, anything like that. eBiker, if I ride one of those, it'll connect to that as well. So it'll give me all that data about range and all those things. I've even used it for doing workouts, so you can get animated sort of circuit workouts. So it'll show you what you should be doing, like an animation of the move, and time you, so how long you should be doing it for, and then it'll beep and tell you to go to the next thing. So crazy useful, way more functions than I probably use, to be fair, but I love using my Phoenix watch, and I use it for things like hiking and even in the gym as well for recording my workouts when I sometimes do them, so I can keep track of how much I'm doing. When I'm going riding, I'm 99% of the time I go in the van because it's, 5-10 miles to the places I go and ride. I don't often ride from the house. So my van is full of kit, you can see, it's very messy. But what I do try and take all the time is a spare pair of socks. No, not those people. You're thinking of something different. You're thinking dirty people thinking what I'm doing with these. I'm actually using these because you often get a wet foot, don't you? At least one wet foot, sometimes 2 wet feet. So I try and keep a spare set of socks in the van because it's horrible putting your wet feet into dry shoes when you finish the ride. I almost always wear riding glasses now. So obviously in the UK it rains a lot. So I'm almost always using the clear lenses rather than tinted. But a few times now, in the last 20 years, I've actually damaged my eyes a little bit, just from normally getting a little bit of mud or grit in my eye, or sometimes scratching it on a branch or something, and it can scratch the surface of your eye, and it's really painful. So I've decided, I've heard too many horror stories, that actually, obviously, I use these just as, safety glasses more than for protection from the sun, obviously in the UK. But I love wearing these things now. And finally, I like to be fairly prepared. So I've got a toolbox in the back of my van, stays here permanently. And it's kind of got some essential on the trail stuff. I've got some smaller parts near, like, what do you call them, UDH hangers. Got, some gloves and some various tools in there. But I like to keep some tubeless sealant, just one of these little trail pouches. Got a tyre pressure gauge, digital one, because it's really nice to use, love that. I've got things like CO2 canisters and tubeless plugs, and then my multi-tool. So if I'm going for a longer ride, obviously I'll chuck that in my pocket. For short rides, and if I'm kind of, a lot of places I ride, you never go too far from the van. So actually on those rides, I don't really take tools with me. I leave them in the van, and if I ever should need them, that's where they are.
Cheers, Neil. So you want to see what's in my backpack? I've got this sort of medium-sized Camelback mule here, which is a good size to get a lot of tools in. But the things that I never leave without is obviously snacks. Nuts keep me feeling quite full, and they've also got naturally occurring electrolytes in there, so it's good for hydration. And then obviously I never leave without a multi-tool because, well, stuff goes wrong and it needs to be fixed. And this pretty much has everything on there to fix that, including a chain breaker, which so many people forget to bring. And I have got a quick link in here as well in case it breaks. And then I'm running tubeless, so naturally I've got a couple of tubeless repairs. I've got some PTs and some toe peak, just so I've got options on sizes of plugs, because you get different holes from different kind of tire injuries. So I've got all of that. And then right at the bottom, I've got a tire pressure gauge. I always carry a pump. Even if I've got CO2 on the bike, a pump will just get you out of trouble no matter what. If you run out of CO2, then you're stuffed. So you need a pump. And the reason I carry a gauge is because different pumps read differently. My track pump reads differently to my hand pump. And if I have to borrow anything, that reads differently too. So I just always want to be consistent because tire pressure is just so important. And then final added things, I always take some wet wipes in case I need to clean my hands or clean my face or anything like that, just for comfort. And then finally, I'm out here in California, it's really warm. I've gone gloveless today, but I always bring spare gloves because sometimes even in warm conditions, you can get really sweaty hands. And if I find that being a problem, at least I can put these on.
Oh, and there we have it. Right, thanks guys. That's actually pretty interesting. I didn't really know what the others took a lot of the time. I thought it was similar. So nice to have a little bit of an insight into what the others carry with them as well. But that's it, I'm done. What do you guys and girls out there take with you when you go for a ride? I'm intrigued to find out, so let me know in those comments down below. But from a rather gloomy bike park Wales, from me for now, I'm out of it. Thanks for watching.